Okay, well, here's a fan I've been wanting to test for a while, ever since I got it, really. This is a Casablanca Cambridge Intellitouch in polished brass that I got from the Fanimation trip from Spencer. It's the only fan I got from him there. And I've done a bit of customizing to it. It did not come with these blades or these glass shades. Get more into where I got these later. I do have the hang true hats, but of course the explosion of wires does not fit in there. There's the tag. And it's a bit of a weird print because the Cambridge text goes over the date code. This fan is from January of 1984, and if this is when they first started doing the day and then the number of fan made that day, then it was the 7th of January. I'm not sure when that transition happened, but I assume it was around this time. I'll go ahead and do demo mode. Since it's flicked, the lights are going to turn on. So to date, this is my earliest Intellitouch model. For those that don't know, it was introduced in late 1983, around the fall. There's a video on YouTube that shows the old official company introduction video for it, which is pretty cool that that's still up. But what I found out from that is that the fan was only, or the Intellitouch was only offered on 2 models in 1983, just the Panama and the Zephyr, and it said that they were only released in limited quantities. So very, very few of those from that year have been found. So when I say first year Intellitouch, I'm basically referring to the end of 1983, but also most of 1984. And the thing that's crazy is that the first Intellitouch models used something called RMM1. There were 4 versions of what was referred to as RMM. Just updates to the Intellitouch system, basically. You know what? Before I go on more, I'm going to dim the lights a little bit. Okay, I like that. So yeah, anyways, RMM1 was the most failure prone and the most complicated in terms of circuitry, I guess you could say. But on this one it still works perfectly, which is awesome. I did do a video of this fan with the shorter blades for those who prefer short blades on the smaller motor housing fans, but I don't really care whether it has full-size blades or short ones. Same with the 4 Seasons. But I really love this combination. Even speed 1 still works, which is a pretty common failure point as well on not even just RMM1, but I think that was a problem until like RMM4, or maybe even it was still happening there. Beautiful aesthetic glow. Okay, I'll bring it to speed 2. So as for how I got this fan versus what it looks like now, the blades that came with it had I think that, yeah, they were Victorian irons imprinted on them. So that clearly didn't go with this fan, but it was what was given to me as part of the sale, which I don't mind because I put those on a different fan that I'm going to be selling as well on eBay. So I had, two options for this. Either the stencil blades that I got, which are new in box. They've never been used until now. And stencil blades on Casablanca fans are pretty hard to find. And I didn't have any for around 2 years when collecting fans, but all of a sudden this past year I've come across multiple sets, which is cool. Other option was, of course, the smaller blades. And then this light kit, the K4S was original, and it's actually starting to discolor a little bit. The metal on at least one of them is triangling a bit, if that's a word. But the glass came from somebody who used to own a showroom. Their daughter, I don't know if they had since passed or something, and then their daughter had all the inventory, or if they just retired. But she had a bunch of glass and other random parts. I can't remember what the other brands were, but there was some Casablanca thrown in there. And I reached out a while ago asking if I could buy it, but no response. And then months and months went by, and eventually she did get back to me, and she said that she would sell me all of the glass that I wanted. So these are also pretty hard to find glass shades. Regular size fitter with the open bottom. And I really like these as well. I got around 3 sets of those, I think. And most of the rest of what I got was beveled glass shades. Speed 4. I need to get my money up so I can have a mansion to install this in. Fan also does not wobble. The bearings are definitely dry, but not to a point of problem where they, absolutely need replacing. Considering this is a fan that I don't plan on selling anytime soon, it's pretty low on the priority list for bearing replacement. And also, replacing bearings on an RMM1 fan sucks. It's just really terrible. I would even go as far to consider it maybe the final boss of doing bearings on a ceiling fan. At least the Casablanca, I can't say for much other brands. There's probably spinner motor stuff that's harder. Speed 5. Either this or Slumber Quiet is the worst, because for RMM1, in the switch housing here are the components for the light board. This was before they just combined it all into the main board that's on the side of the motor. So you'd have to take all of that out and be able to reconnect it once it's done without damaging it. Because remember, everything is fragile on these systems. So you have to do that. Somehow not damage the BFR, which is the orange strip that does speeds 1 through 5. Which again, very hard because of how fragile these are. And then you'd have to get past the bearing adhesive that they put in these fans from, I guess, since they started using real motors until 1987, which just so happens to coincide with the RMM1 timeline. But of course it's doable, and it has been done. I just like to complain. Speed 6. Absolute powerhouse. And really the bearings don't sound, they're not making much of any sound at all. Maybe it's just when I had the smaller blades on it and it went faster. Definitely an awesome fan. Thank you again to Spencer who gave me this for a very good price. It also came with the W11, but I'm using the standard one I always have in the wall. You could consider this model mini Victorian, I guess. I think it's cooler than the Victorian. I guess partially because they're more rare. But it's a very nice design in my opinion. Not too much ornateness where it's like overwhelming for me. Also the blade irons are awesome. I'm gonna turn it off. So, I think that's about all I have to say for this Casablanca Cambridge. I'm going to stop spin down a bit short because these are very used bearings, so they will go on for a while. I mean, look at that blade iron. I don't think any other fan has something like that. So there you have it.